Our primary mission at the 128th is aerial refueling. We are basically an extender for other aircraft. The KC-135 has the ability to go up midair and refuel any aircraft in the Air Force inventory. We also have the ability to refuel NATO aircraft. Most jets don't have a long enough range, so a full tank of gas would only take them so far. If you think back to World War II, when we were flying aircraft to go to Japan, we had to land. As the planes would run out of fuel range, we had to land, refuel, go a little further, land. That puts stress on the aircraft and it puts stress on the crew. Aerial refueling offers the opportunity that once a plane is fully loaded with munitions or its cargo load, it can take off, and then when it needs fuel, hook up with a KC-135, get refueled, and continue on with its mission. We've got a fleet of aircraft that are phenomenally maintained. Our crew chiefs are very passionate about their aircraft.
So all the little tiny pieces of the airplane, this is called bench stock. It would be screws, maybe light bulbs, all the little tiny things that you might need if something breaks. You go right in the side of the airplane. When you're in the airplane, you have around 2 feet to squeeze through.
When it comes to drill weekend, time to come and train, you're back to your guard mentality where you're actually in the guard and you're doing your job. Like you see the guys here. During the month, they could be police officers, they could be teachers. It doesn't matter. When they come here, they're strapping themselves to a winch and working on an airplane.
These are probably around 215 pounds. Main landing gear tires, and they're around 400.
On the KC-135 air refueling tanker, it's a 3-person crew. The crew consists of the 2 pilots, the pilot, the co-pilot, and then the boom operator is the enlisted aircrew member. Their primary responsibility is in-flight refueling. Boom operator, boom for short, is the individual who goes back and actually operates the controls, because it's actually a flying boom that comes down, and they're trained to operate the controls and offload the fuel to the jets. Portion of the job, as the aircraft receiver aircraft is in the back, is to bring the boom down from the stowed position and fly it down. And then you have to stay with them, and if there's a problem, you have to be ready to disconnect, because you can't get to a certain point and then get away before you scratch them. See how all the scratches are in there? Which, with this particular receiver, is a really bad thing, because you just ruined their stealth capability.
And when we take off and we go up and we meet what's called a rendezvous, we've got MOAs, military operating areas, in the sky. We've kind of reserved that space because we need that space to train in. On a KC-135, we hold approximately 30,000 gallons of fuel. We don't normally fly with 30,000 gallons of fuel. We do adjust the amount of fuel we carry based on how much fuel we're going to offload. So we meet them in this rendezvous point, and when the aircraft is approaching us, there's lights on the bottom of our aircraft. There's a U and a D, a U for up, a D for down, and an F and an A, F for forward, A for aft. So as the aircraft that's getting the gas is closing in on our plane, they're moving closer and closer. And in the back of the aircraft, which we call the business end of the aircraft, there's a boom operator that's laying, and their job is actually performed on their belly. So they're looking out of the back of the aircraft, out of a kind of a picture window, if you will. Now this high-speed boom is 28 feet long. It's called a telescopic boom. And at the very end of it, there's these little wings called rotavators, and the rotavators allow that boom operator to fly that boom with that joystick. The boom operator takes the telescopic boom and inserts into the receiving aircraft. As soon as a connection's been made with the receiving aircraft, we go ahead and we flow fuel. And there's always a predetermined amount of fuel that we're going to offload to the aircraft. Of course, a fighter aircraft will take much less fuel than, say, a C-17, which is a cargo aircraft, or a B-52. We can run up to 1 or 4 pumps that pump fuel into the receiving aircraft. So a fighter might take just a few minutes on the back of our aircraft to get a few thousand pounds of fuel, whereas a B-52 or the C-17 could take 15 or 20 minutes to get the fuel, but it might be receiving 15, 20,000 pounds of fuel or more. Once the receiving aircraft has got their fuel, we disconnect the fuel nozzle, and the other aircraft backs away, and we go ahead and we get a little bit of separation between the 2 aircraft, and then the other aircraft is afforded its opportunity to go on and perform its mission. Being a member of the National Guard offers a truly unique opportunity, because being a member of the Wisconsin Air National Guard, my commander-in-chief is Governor Scott Walker. Governor Walker has got the authority to mobilize Wisconsin Air National Guard or Army National Guard troops and airmen to go help the state in case our state is stricken by some type of natural disaster, such as a flood or a tornado. We're very engaged in the local community. The amount of jobs and dollars that our wing spins off makes a fairly large impact in this community. And we like to think of ourselves as good neighbors because of the amount of jobs that we create and the amount of spin-off jobs that come from some of the, just having an operation the size we have it. There are jobs that are created with contractors that are coming on base and services that our base requires. So I think it's a vital part of our southeastern Wisconsin economy.